I'm struck by this because we talked about Simeone changing systems and personnel. Tuchel, he generally keeps the same system. He generally keeps the same back three. Obviously, Thiago Silva's out now, but you have an idea. But then when you change people in the system, Hudson-Odoi has different characteristics than Reece James. Ziyech has different characteristics than Mason Mount. Jorginho has different characteristics than N'Golo Kanté.
Yeah.
And of course, the strikers are all different. So it seems how does he do it? Because we just said maybe part of the reason they can't do it well, Simeone, is because he changes systems and personnel. Well, this guy Tuchel's been there, 2 months?
2.5, yeah.
And he he manages to do it. He keeps the same system, but changes perhaps the actors in that system?
Yeah, but I think he's pragmatic compared to the opposition. So whoever they play against, and we saw against Liverpool when he explained, I chose Timo Werner ahead of Olivier Giroud, for example, because I wanted that pace to run in behind. And we saw Werner doing really well in that game, scoring a goal that was disallowed for slight offside, but really causing problems to Liverpool. It was the same against Atletico Madrid in this second leg because they wanted a bit more pace up front. In the first leg, he wanted Giroud because he knew how deep Atleti would defend, so I think he adapts his team selection, not just not the system, but the team selection to whoever he plays against. But just to come back on Frank's point, there's two axes of work since he arrived. The first one is to build from the back and beat the opposition's press, and we saw that not just against Atletico, but against Liverpool. They were fantastic of getting the ball back out from the back and build up like this, their play, and then it's themselves to put pressure on the opposition and get the ball back in the opponent's half and get the ball back as high as possible, which we saw again last night. I mean, in the first half, Kanté recovered the ball 7 times in 45 minutes, Rudiger 8 times, and often Rudiger even in Atleti's half. And I think that capacity of putting you under pressure and almost choke you to get the ball back, even if it's just on the halfway line, it's a huge advantage. And that's the two things that they've been really working hard since he took over.
Yeah, there's no question that Tuchel, we talked about when he came over about his high pressing game that we saw before. It's the same concepts. It's just many times he does it from deeper positions, but you still win the ball. And if you have fast strikers, it actually helps you because they have more space in which to run. Frank, I want to ask you about Kai Havertz because I think it's fair to say, and probably predictably, because he is very young and he's moving to a new league and he's dealt with 2 different managers. His Chelsea career has been very up and down. Some people aren't entirely sold on him. I think when you see him play in the flesh, even more so than on television, you realize how natural he looks. There, yeah. And how unusual it is for a guy his size to have that combination of skills. But what did you make of him? Because he's getting a run of games in the team, sometimes as in the center forward role. I know I'm supposed to put false in front of it, but no, if you play center forward, you're center forward, just with different skills. What do you think of this development?
I think he's getting better, which is not something that I'm not expecting. I want to see more from him because I've seen him playing last season, and it was producing something that I rarely saw from a young player. That maturity, the skill, everything, the flair. He had everything. And when he came to Chelsea, it's like he lost everything. So of course he's getting better. Of course we have to be pleased by the investment that he put into his effort, every game that he plays. And maybe Tuchel has the right to put him every time because he trusted that that's the only way for Havertz to feel better and being more confident about his football. So the performances are better, but I know and I'm sure that he can give even 10 times more that we see right now. So it's why I'm not saying that I'm happy. It's not what I'm saying. It's why I'm saying I'm not convinced yet, because I think that guy can give more. It's not because I hate him, like in some social networks people are saying. It's just because I'm really fond of him, and I know because I saw him last season and the season before that he's a really talented player, and he can bring much, much more than what we saw yesterday and what we see normally. But he's getting better.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.